Topic 10, From Jerusalem to the Ends of the Earth, Jerusalem in the New Testament. The attitude of the New Testament towards Jerusalem, in one sense, reflects the fact that Jesus and his closest associates were Galileans. Galilee is in the northern part of Palestine. The name Galil or Galilee refers to or comes from the Hebrew word for circle. It's assumed that this region was given this name because it was a region encircled by very important major cities in the Bronze and Iron Age, the cities of Bet-Shan, Megiddo, Akko, and also Hatzor. So the cities surrounded this region. They formed a circle around this region, and the region was called Galilee. The Gospels locate most of Jesus' ministry in Galilee. The Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke have Jesus' entire ministry take place in Galilee, or at least on the road from Galilee to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the setting for the beginning and end of Luke's Gospel. The Gospel begins with the announcement to Zechariah of the birth of his son, while Zechariah is performing his duties in the Jerusalem temple. The Gospel ends with Jesus' ascension into heaven from Jerusalem. So again, the whole Gospel is framed by mention of Jerusalem. Luke presents Jesus as weeping over Jerusalem and its fate. Although Jerusalem was not a subject of Jesus' preaching, Jesus was a Jew. He was heir to the traditions that saw Jerusalem as having a significant role in the life of the people of God. He came to the temple as a child and as a young man, visited many times, participated in his rituals. So he could not be unmoved when he was convinced that Jerusalem, because of its failure to respond to his message, would experience divine judgment. And so his response to this was to weep for the fate of Jerusalem. Nonetheless, Jesus prophesies the destruction of the city. Because, again, the Jesus preaching reflects a kind of an apocalyptic perspective, and that before God's kingdom will be established, before the new age can begin, this present time and this present place has to be purged of sinners, has to be purged of the unfaithful. And Jesus' prophecy concerning the destruction of Jerusalem reflects the prophecy of people like Zechariah and others who maintain that before the end of this age, Jerusalem will be under judgment in order to remove the evil from its midst. Now, all Jesus' post-resurrection appearances in the Gospel of Luke take place in Jerusalem. In Mark and Matthew, Jesus has the disciples return to Galilee, and he appears to them in Galilee. But in Luke, the disciples remain in Jerusalem, and the post-resurrection appearances to them take place in Jerusalem. Luke's contribution to the New Testament is really made up of two books, the book of the Gospel and the book of Acts. So the book of Acts has to be seen as a kind of continuation of Luke's message that he begins to present in the Gospel. In the Gospel, Luke has the story of Jesus end in Jerusalem. In the book of Acts, he has the apostles continue the ministry of Jesus beyond Jerusalem to the ends of the earth. So the apostles first receive the Spirit in Jerusalem during the Feast of Pentecost. It is there in Jerusalem that the apostles are empowered for the ministry that will take the gospel beyond the borders of Galilee, beyond the borders of Jerusalem, beyond the borders of the Holy Land, to the ends of the earth.